everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we are finally going to be getting an explanation about the majority of the changes between 14 and 14 mobile. I've kind of been highlighting them as they pop up. There's was some closed beta information, beta 1 information, but the game's been in open beta, which is effectively the soft launch of the game for a few days now at this point. So there was a Reddit post over on r/14 mobile, another Reddit I'll have to be checking quite frequently, by Robla Andrews, which covers an extensive list of differences and also lists when things are going to be largely the same. I haven't gone through this list yet, but somebody told me it was there, so I figured let's just go through it together. I also do have someone who is going to be giving me Final Fantasy XIV mobile footage, just because it's actually, I could play it for a little bit, but I don't think I could play it for an extended time, just because I can make a WeChat account, but after a while it asks if you want if you have a Chinese identification number, and if you don't, well, then you can't go. So I figure I might as well just work with someone who does have access to the game, and then I can do that in order to cover it going forward. But let's look, because you know, it's been a pretty hot topic over the last several months. So let's see what we got. So all players start in Ul'dah. You can't start in Limsa and Gridania. I mean, that's kind of whatever to me. I don't care. I started in Ul'dah anyway, so I guess I'm not really. It's not make or break for me. Story's effectively the same, just streamlined a bit, and the level pacing is different. Yeah, we've seen that from some of the closed beta footage and the beta 1 footage. Occasional jigsaw puzzles during some quests where you need to get an item from an NPC to give to others. Example being the early quest from Papashan where you had to hand out pretzels. So you just have to do like a little jigsaw. I mean, I guess that's just because they're like, we're on mobile. We might as well do like these little things for the touchscreen and just add a bit of variety to the quests, I suppose. I'm not crazy about it, but it doesn't hurt. Just reminds me of verification puzzles, which are really easy. Those ones are really easy, but that's what it makes me think of. Occasionally, the quest will place a chocobo for you as the object that will fly you to the next location. You have to requires giving them a Gasol Green and a timing-based minigame. Yeah, more mini-games. At least there is that, but, you know, that's not really, again, yes or no thing for me. Similarly, occasionally quest NPCs act as direct teleports. Yeah, we've gotten a lot more of that in recent 14, so that's not really that much of a surprise either. On occasion, when visiting a new safe location, the quest objectives will actually get you to interact with the Aetheryte before continuing, or to the NPC, whatever else. Just acting as a reminder, you know, the common rule is, if you go to a new location, get the Aetheryte first. Like, that's a player enforced kind of like way of thinking, but they force you to do it. So it's just taking out the guesswork, or, you know, oh, I forgot to attune before I left, idiot, you know, that situation. Chocobos are now unlocked fairly early at level 7. We saw that during Beta 1. During a quest where you visit the Immortal Flames to pick up a Chocobo permit. In line with this change, there's no Chocobo barding until when you actually join the Grand Company and get the barding as you would normally. Good change to just get that out a little bit sooner. Just getting around is a lot quicker in general as soon as possible. Ether Compass is unlocked around level 9 when you first visit the area outside Copperbell by the miner who sends you up to get some shards due to the change in unlocking Flight in a Realm Reborn. Yeah, we've seen a bunch about this. There's more information. I'm sure it'll be later in this one. But the Ether Currents are available really early on. You can get flying really early on. There's one other thing about Ether Currents, but I'm sure it'll be mentioned here later. Quests with solo instances now have minimum item level requirements. It will not let you enter if you don't meet it. That's fair, probably for the better. A lot of players ignore that, and then they get steamrolled. Not as much nowadays, but it used to happen quite a bit. Still happens sometimes, though. Combat leave quests have been removed. Fair. I mean, honestly, they might as well be removed from you know, main 14 as it is. Yeah, it's in line with the future expansion content. And MSQ stops at the end of 2.0 after the ultimate weapon, which was to be expected. World and regions. There's no physical changes. All the maps are the same. Figured as much. Quality of life change in major cities is the ability to click and teleport directly to the Ethernet shards from anywhere. You can use them as your teleport destination when needing to travel back to the city or to visit a certain guild or whatever. Or within the same city, they can be clicked and teleport with no cast time. So yeah, just making it so you don't actually need to interact with Ethernets makes getting around the cities a lot faster. So that's a solid one there. Unlocking Flight has been reworked, as we talked about earlier, to use the Ether Current system for every other expansion, varying from 4 to 8 currents. None are locked behind a quest. That's nice. And every region can be completed on first visit, with the exception of Western La Noscea due to restricting travel to the Isle of Umbra until a certain main scenario quest MSQ quests, like that, like ATM machine. In line with this, 2 currents are in that area and cannot be reached early. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's just they gradually unlock flying as you go instead of unlocking it right at level 50. We, of course, knew about this as well if you were keeping up. All fates have been brought over. Fates can actually spawn with higher difficulty and rewards called high risk and are marked in pink on the map instead of blue. Bicolor gemstones and forlorn maidens have been added along with the new limited time buffs that can appear after collecting objectives that power you up for about 15 seconds. So adding a little bit more. So we've wondered if they would ever in the main game go back and add bicolor gemstones, shared fate objectives, and forlorn maidens to the earlier expansions. Something I've actually wanted and something I still want them to do, even if it doesn't really impact me all that much. I think it would just be more enticing to newer players to engage with the system at an earlier point. The high risk thing is interesting. As long as fates are populated, the high risk thing is nice, but it really depends on how they scale. 14 mobile, I sincerely doubt after a while will have a very, very high number of people doing fates in all zones unless they really support it long term, which is totally possible. So that could actually work against them if it's the high risk is actually too difficult. So that's a wait and see kind of thing. Additionally, there is a series of extra objectives that can be completed in every fate. So optional fate objectives, which is a good idea, such as getting a certain amount of monster kills, defeating the boss, collecting items, and other varied tasks to be completed over the course of repeating the fate several times. These unlock extra rewards. So it's like the shared fate system, but every fate basically has a series of long-term objectives. For completionist's sake, that could be nice. It depends on what the extra rewards are. If you're just doing shared fate system, this is something you would probably complete automatically anyway, so it's a bit superficial. But no one's going to say no to more rewards, and it might get people at least participating in the fates for a longer period of time, because completing everything, especially in the mobile version of the game, is probably going to be far more enticing than it is in the main game for a lot of people. Fate rewards are sent out even in a situation where you can't normally receive it. You will be allotted the EXP and items immediately when the fate ends, and a Moogle mails you the details of your rewards if you are unable to be present for the fate ending notification. This includes leaving the zone, being in menus, and even entering instance content. So that's a huge quality of life. That's a big clap. So a lot of the times when people want to do fates and maybe queue up for a dungeon, there's the concern that, you know, they'll start a fate and then the dungeon pops up. They've got to, you know, they want to go do the dungeon. They're going to miss the fate. There's a whole bunch of like 2-for-1 situations where in terms of optimization, it'd be nice. This kind of allows you to do it all. If you want to do fates while waiting for a queue, you're not going to be penalized in any capacity. And if you suddenly have to leave the zone, or maybe even if you forget to, you know, like you just decide you're going to have to go do something else, or like you forget that the fate hasn't finished yet and you try to leave, it prevents you from losing whatever progress you would have. So that's a really solid one. Definitely a big fan of that. New types of world events have been added. Buried chests can be found around the regions with friendly marmots. So they added bunnies to the open world. That's funny. I thought the buried chest, I guess that's different from the maps, because the maps have something. No, I mean, maps, you just go to the location. Still, it's a matter of, are the rewards worth it? And I don't know what the rewards are. Performing bands can be encountered using emotes in their vicinity. Grants you a buff to EXP gained by color gemstones earned in the area. There's a goblet merchant that can be found around the world, and helping him pick up his stuff and returning it will progress a bond level that adds new items to his store. That's all. Like, all of that is great. It's nice that there's a little bit of extra engagement to the world. It still all comes down to how useful it actually is. Is that EXP buff and bicolor gemstone buff going to be worth it? Is it something that players will just forego interacting with at some point because it slows them down to stop and do it? It's all about efficiency when it comes to these things, but they do make the world feel more alive. It's nice to see those things out in the world, so no one's going to say no to extras coming from items like that. Details from future content have been included on maps where appropriate. For example, the maps for Ishgard and Korthus Western Highlands can be seen on the fully zoomed out Korthus region map. Makes sense. I mean, they have all the map data anyway. Might as well just use it. Content-wise, the game seems to be a weird mix of 2.0 with current day quality of life and features. Revenant Toll is already completed. Beast Tribe camp locations are all present. The Gold Saucer is available. I mean, yeah, we know that. I mean, the Gold Saucer was previewed immediately upon the initial trailer, so we knew it was going to be kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. That's especially evident if you've seen some of the end game changes, especially to the Binding Coil. We saw some footage of the first boss, and Caduceus is literally The core idea is the same, but the execution is completely different. It's a very modern looking fight. Notable features that are actually the opposite should be present but actually missing, including the Wolves Den. PvP content's currently completely absent. The fairy NPC can't be interacted with, yet the location is present on the map, and even detailed with its Aetheryte. Early day Final Fantasy XIV PvP would not be worth including, so they probably want the later Final Fantasy XIV PvP stuff, and that's probably going to take a little bit longer. Yeah, they definitely don't want the feast, trust me. Let's see. The location's present on the map, has its Aetheryte, delivery Moogle, pins names, etc. Like, yeah, they're going to add it, no doubt, but the feast is not the play, let me tell you. Hall of the Novice instances and rewards are also not present in the game. It's kind of a miss. I think that's actually a really nice thing, but they do have a lot more guidance in the game, so maybe they just wanted to see how they got along without it. Guild leaves aren't present. Totally understand that. Housing is currently missing. They actually mentioned, they did like a mini roadmap, and they mentioned when they were thinking of getting housing. I forgot when they said, but they already acknowledged that. Palace of Dead's also absent, but despite being in A Realm Reborn, it was actually introduced in Heavensward. Yeah, that is Heavensward content, so once again, not surprised. Combat classes and jobs. Class quests have been condensed from levels 1 to 10 and serve as early content and tutorial. Ivy, thrown the door open. How'd you even get... So before we started recording, I closed my door and locked my cat in here. It didn't lock, it just closed it. I noticed now that the door is open and the cat has thrown it wide open, and I have no idea how that happened. Class quests have been condensed from levels 1 to 10 and serve as early... Oh my goodness. Early content tutorials along with the source of gear and experience. Completing the level 10 quest unlocks the associated class ring instead of needing all the hunting logs like it is in the base game. Retail, I should say. And make the job zone available. Guild teleport tickets have been added to let you get back to the class quest NPC immediately upon completing objectives. So it's just kind of speedy, a super simple tutorial session. Okay, makes sense. It's just not like a long drawn out thing, and like I said, it's been condensed, so it's probably like they're probably reduced a little bit in terms of engagement and you know, lore and all that stuff, because they're condensed down into so few quests, and at such a low level. But all the same, although these are just class quests, it's just the first 30 levels, so it's a bit different. Or at least I'm assuming it is. Once you get your job zone, you can't take it off. The class is effectively gone. I mean, honestly, might as well be the case in retail, because other than occasionally doing deep dungeon as a class, there's really no reason for them to be there. Job quests remain paced like the original and become available at level 35 and every 5th level, giving you gear and experience. So those are more like the original ones. They even give you the better recolor version of Coffer at level 50, like normal. Mind you, that's normal to us now. That was not normal back in A Realm Reborn. Back in A Realm Reborn, that was something that they added like way later down the line. Job actions have been obviously streamlined and changed while keeping the identity and general playstyle in mind. There are new skills and animations here or there, but otherwise they are built out of familiar elements. Yeah, there are some that are considerably different. Like Warrior still slams over and over again, but they have an entirely new attack with a big ass chainsaw. Bard has like a timing mini game and its job gauge. I've gone over a bunch of the job changes before, but they're all, so you can tell they're derivative, but they are, some of them, very notably different in how they flow. All jobs have access to a standard action button that serves as a basic combo. Yeah, it's like an auto attack, basically. For melee classes, it's your basic 1, 2, 3 with a bonus that at a certain distance also turns into your ranged attack. For warrior, it turns into tomahawk. Nice way to consolidate. Whereas for mages, they served as a reliable instant cast button to use while moving around. Another new button is the evasive action. Yeah, there being a dodge roll is so weird. The one underneath the standard action that serves as a self-explanatory movement skill that gets you across a short distance quickly and activates sprint. Well, I didn't know it activated sprint, so that actually is pretty important. This is available every 15 seconds. Animations vary, such as dashes or rolls. White Mage gets to float around, kind of cool. Nice that there's an individual job flavor to all of them. The fact that it activates sprint for 4 seconds, I think I remember seeing that. But it's still, it's weird because when I watch the coil content, it looks like you don't need it at all to do like any of the same mechanics that already existed. So it acts like, I guess it just acts as a little bit of a bonus. You'll just get to any of the locations. Question is, will they design future fights with the knowledge that exists in the game? Or will it just kind of be there because it's cool and is an more interesting way to activate a really short burst in movement to get someplace? That'll be the question, but I'm sure people will like pressing it all the same. At the Arcanist Guild, you can pick up the Scholar unlock quest at the reception decks as well and unlock it independently. Alongside this change, Summoner and Scholar no longer share a level. They split them up. Yeah, so Summoner and Scholar are their own thing, and both have their separate levels. No 2-for-1, so bear that in mind if you ever get to start playing the Final Fantasy 14 mobile version. With mages, spells are locked in the end of the cast bar. With this change, casting at an enemy who then dies during the cast time will activate the spell on the next available target. That is massive. For casting healing spells, casting single target heals and no target selected will automatically target the member with the lowest HP. All really solid quality of life. The instant retarget is especially prevalent for cast time job for like Black Mage, for example. That's going to feel really, really nice to know. The question is, how good is the auto retarget on it? If there are multiple targets available. That'll, I guess in AoE situations, it's not super prevalent, but there are situations where you may not even want that. It would almost be better if it didn't. But in like 95% of circumstances, that'll probably work out to be beneficial to the player. Very, very beneficial. Crafting. Crafters now have a job gauge called Tension. I noticed this when I was reviewing them some months ago. Progress skills move the dial left, and quality skills move it right. Hitting small colored zones near the end of the gauge boosts the efficiency of a skill the other direction, and certain skills can manipulate the gauge. This replaces the condition mechanic from the original. Yeah, there's a whole lot more base conditions it looked like when it was explained when we saw it a few months back. Material style items like lumber for carpenter are only made with quick synth, and you can even spend gil to skip instantly to the end of the cast. That's fine. Normal crafts can be made in bulk. Having enough materials allows you to craft multiple of an item at once using the same progress quality craft. Oh, that's good. So if you want to craft 99 of something and you have the materials to do it, you only have to do the actual progress quality crafting one time and it will make all of them. Completing the item and having a certain stat requirement enables an automatic craft for the item. So when you're geared enough, you don't even have to do the progress quality craft. An option is available in the crafting log above an item to bring up the gil vendor purchases for all the required materials. Wow, so yeah, they even have a little bit of that worked in. Really nice, especially for the more basic of Realm Reborn crafts. I wonder, though, because while they have that job gauge called Tension, it looked like there were like individual crafting mini games when we saw it a few months back. Possible that they removed that for the open beta and launch and simplified it a little bit. But it was good. I was intrigued to see what it looked like when we saw some of the other aspects to it. Although you were playing those minigames largely to manipulate the tension gauge as it was, so maybe they are still there. Gathering class is pretty much the same with less buttons, while on Fisher, a nice little UI appears at the top of the screen showing the slots for the current spot. We saw that as well, so that's not new information, but that is a very, very good thing. Dungeons. For the most part, experience is the same. MSQ dungeons appear to have their mostly reworked designs. I noticed that when we were looking through dungeon footage, whereas optional ones are not. So that lends some weight to the game being based on a late Shadowbringer / early Endwalker build, which makes sense given they've probably been working on it since about that time. Poetics are available immediately and can be earned on non-50 jobs, so funds for level 50 gear can be worked on all the way through your progression. That's very nice. There are two other Tombstone tiers at level 50, Verity, which is used to buy materia and upgrade items, and Genesis, that is not available yet. Maybe when Coil comes out on June 3rd. Yeah, they've been like time gating some things, so Coil's not going to be out for a little bit. And the person who said they would help me with footage, I was like, yo, when you get to Coil, I want to see that footage. Just as an overall change, optional chests are gone. Also, I'll note that I don't 100% remember every single boss mechanic from content that's sold. Might have missed some in-fight details. For the most part, I'm pretty sure I got everything. Sastasha, no changes. Temtar, the very last part at the end where you would walk past the barricade to a room at the end, an unlock is removed. The barricade just opens when you kill the mobs there. Okay, that's fine. Copperbell explosive powder pickups are removed, thank God. Holotai pre-rework version, no pulling the change in the second section. That's nice. Totorock, no notable changes. Hawk, optional rooms are sealed with no keys. The only room in the basement with anything in it is the last room. Killing the mob there unlocks the boss door as if the key was used. So no interacting with the keys, thank God. The other part of the top floor is barricaded. Yeah, that like long hallway that's there for no reason at the top. Such a bait for new players. Like, ooh, you want to go exploring? Too bad, there's nothing useful here. Brave Locks, no loot chest after the first boss. That's fine. No reward chest from Gobbies. Aw, that's sad. Oh, time not to rescue them, I guess, then. Karn, pre-rework, all the puzzle stuff appears to have been removed. The Doom mechanic and floor pads from the first boss have been added to the final boss. Oh, that's nice. They actually buffed the final boss. Cutter's Cry, not in game. Okay. Okay, so Stone Vigil, level 40, no changes. Darkhold, not in the game. Okay. Ormvale, no notable changes. You know what's interesting? Cutter's Cry, Darkhold, they were actually raids, kind of, in 1.0. Ormvale was as well. But, I mean, maybe they're going to do something interesting with them. Who knows? Ormvale Castrum, no notable changes. Cutscenes can be skipped after the first time. Praetorium, same deal. Labyrinth of the Ancients, included this here since there's no better section to list it in. And there's definitely some changes. Labyrinth of the Ancient is now 8-player content, which we had seen from the preview a few months back. Changes have been made to bosses to accommodate this while keeping most of the bosses the same. Loot is treated like a normal dungeon, and there's no restriction on rolling for multiple pieces. Okay, so yeah, if you want to spam some Labyrinth of the Ancient, it's effectively a level 50 dungeon now. A spammable level 50 dungeon. It's an interesting change, kind of unfortunate, but maybe they just didn't feel like supporting 24-player content, at least not at launch. Imtapor Keep and Wanderer's Palace are also not there yet. That's also really weird. Maybe that's why they made the change to Labyrinth, because Labyrinth is a patch early, but it's level 50 for 8 players. I mean, level 50, I don't know why I said that. It's for 8 players instead of 24 players, and there's like 4 less dungeons. I don't know, it's a little strange. I don't know why they wouldn't work on the other stuff that is normally in 2.0, and if they wanted to make something. So that means that these are your level 50 dungeons. Labyrinth of the Ancients, Cashmere Praetorium. Yay. Story trials now full party content and significantly more involved fights. Yes, we noticed these were a lot more like their hard mode versions when we were watching it in the beta a few months back. The Primal Trio dropped weapon coffers with level appropriate gear, plus some other rare drops like Titan having a minion or special glamour chests that reward a random piece of glam gear. Ifrit, similar to hard mode, features 4 nails and a new mechanic with falling AoE markers and meteor markers that drop AoEs behind a moving player. That sounds like I don't want to watch it, but I don't remember if that's just supposed to be replacing the plumes underneath the players. Well, the plumes aren't the ones that follow the players. It's the other one that follows the players, the cracked ground AoEs. I wonder if it's supposed to be like replacing that. Titan, significantly different. Starts out similar, having only 1 stage. Heart phase is swapped with an ad phase, so it does the 2 little nugget ads. And the second half of Titan featuring extreme mechanics like the triple landslides and the Ultima's version of Upheaval. That's a significant uptick. That's going to cause a lot of trouble, but get the reses, I suppose. Just hope people don't go off the edge. Garuda, like Ifrit, mix of later difficulties, summons his sisters for an ad phase where Garuda herself becomes untargetable. Okay. I wonder why they went so hard on Titans. I mean, to be fair, he's a fan favorite, but even still, wonder why they like buffed him so much. Ultima, Porta Decumana is classified as a dungeon rather than a trial, and is played with a light party, and it's the same version of the fight that's currently available in the original game. Okay, so it's not the new Porta. So it's interesting because it's called Porta Decumana, and it's a light party, but it's the modern. It's not the modern version. Currently available in the original game. So they do mean the updated one. They just mean retail, not original. I thought, yeah, okay, no, okay, then this makes sense. Never mind. Titan hard mode, closer to extreme with harder versions of mechanics in phase 1, 2 ads instead of 1 for the heart phase, the jail mechanic added and so on. This fight and presumably future high-end content features a new HUD element showing upcoming mechanics and when they're going to resolve. Yeah, so it's got like a DBM baked in. That's not concerning because they're baking it in, which means the idea of it being used is already cemented. It does make me wonder what they'll do mechanically and how much they'll change any given mechanic, given that they're introducing this. They could just determine that players are going to want something like that anyway. Players already use that in modern MMOs anyway. Maybe they just figured they would, jump it and just put it in. And that's a pretty logical way of handling it. They have no video because they haven't been able to get a clear yet. Gold Saucer, for the most part, the same. Some changes. The downstairs minigames have new gameplay, generally based on timing touchscreen taps. Makes sense. You're on your mobile device at that point. The crane game is mostly the same, but bigger with more balls to land on and a bit stricter detection on if you touched it. Fashion Report has been fully reworked. Yeah, I went over the Fashion Report in another video. Instead of clues, players are shown 5 NPCs and can view the final score redolent Rose has given them. Using the theme in these NPCs as a guide, you can make 5 attempts each week using rental gear to put together the glamour from just head, body, legs, and shoes. Matching the theme adds up to 12 points per slot, with another 3 points if you actually own the glamour yourself, making 88 the max score for borrowing gear and up to a perfect 100 if you own the outfit you made. Yeah, we went over a little bit of this when we were discussing it. I couldn't fully understand it because obviously it's not in English, but yeah, they're just making it so you don't actually need to fill your inventory or even just make sure you actually own every item every week in order to do the fashion report. You just can't get a perfect score unless you do. So it gives you a little bit of something to work towards. Jumbo Caxpot pays out different reward tiers based on matching numbers in different slots. So instead of it being straight, it's like you're playing it... what is it called when you can do any of the numbers? I think it's like calling it house. I don't remember what it is. It does not only pay out from right to left. For example, the first week's winning numbers are 4, 5, 2, 6. I got 58,500 MGP from a ticket with 4, 5, 2252, 5,000 MGP from a ticket with 2020, and 2,000 MGP for a ticket with 2255, even though nothing is technically matching. Winning a gate on the main stage can unlock up to 3 extra Jumbo Cactpot tickets. Oh, that's going to be important. Leap of Faith appears to be the only major gate not available. Chocobo Racing, Breeding, Lords of Minion, Dome, and Mahjong unavailable. Disappointing. They'll get to them eventually. All right, quality of life, etc. All 10 servers act as one data center and share the party finder. Makes sense. Parties and link shells are cross-rolled by default with only free companies being restricted to your server. Notably new to these cross-rolled features is that the market board is shared, showing the seller and server on each name. So given that this is A, only available in China, and B, obviously it's just it's built differently from the ground up, all of this makes perfect sense. There are some advancements, obviously everything being cross-world by default. Free companies still being restricted to your server. I mean, I wonder what their logic was. It seems like they tried to leap forward with everything except that. Maybe they wanted some degree of server, I guess, you know, pride or reason to even have different servers as a whole, and they just wanted something. But the market board being cross-realm also just, again, if you're building it from scratch, totally makes sense to do something like that. So yeah, I don't see a reason that way, because they know if people are going to hop, if people were going to hop to use the market board, they're like, we might as well just make the market board available everywhere. As well-known glamours, yeah, we've been over this a million times. Honestly, I don't even want to really read through this all too much. A lot of old level 1 items you would never use as real gear only come in glamour versions as store outfits that get added directly to your dresser. Dyes are used to unlock colors on individual pieces, and then it can be used freely afterwards. Yeah, so you only have to, so basically every time if you want a color, you need the dyes once for each piece, but you need it once for each piece and never more than once. Yeah, I can't preview dye on unbought gear, so I can't confirm this. The more layered gear is likely cash shop items. I can't preview dye on unbought gear, so I can't confirm this. 15 glamour plates are available. Outfits made can be saved to them and then linked to a job. You can buy more plates with real money currency. No surprise that more glamour plates would be locked behind monetization. Certain max level gear has upward arrow icons that indicate the ability to be upgraded to +1 versions, raising their stats and item level. Nice that it has an indicator. Currently, the Poetics gear has this function requiring Titan Hearts to upgrade that can drop from Titan hard mode or bought with Verity Tomestones. Material melded onto specific gear slots within a job, not the piece of gear itself. Any material melded to your headpiece will be swapped over to any other gear. First 2 slots are guaranteed, and the overmelds are 25, 15, and 10. This was a bit of a point of contention. I went over it in a separate video, where before the open beta / launch, material was mostly something that you could spend real money to get. So going for those overmeld slots was far more inconvenient. There was a lot of limitations on how much material you could earn per week outside of spending money. And they made it like fully farmable and made it more available as a piece of feedback to that. So the monetization aspect of that is not really that relevant. It might give you like a few more to try for the overmeld slots, but it's hardly relevant compared to what it was. Stores all can be accessed from any location from the menu. We saw that months ago. Market board can be accessed. We saw that also. Leave quests don't need to be accepted, just turned in for the result, and can be accessed from any location. After unlocking leave quests, you get 10 turn-ins every day at morning reset, and up to 100 can be stored. Yeah, so instead of 6 per day, it's 10 per day, and you can do it from the menu. That's nice. Grand Company turn-ins can, as you guessed it, be accessed from any... Yeah, I assume that almost any of this stuff can be accessed from the menu. Some collection completion lists are incentivized with reward milestones, every so many achievement points, glamour items unlocked, fate objectives, etc. Have additional rewards from their associated menu. Inventory is a shared overall limit with no armory chest split. This means you can have as many or as little gear type without worrying about fitting it all in the armory chest or empty slots being wasted storage. But of course, the trade-off is managing it all within one overall limit. Inventory limit can be expanded with items earned from quests, or events or the battle pass, or for a guild cost. It starts at 300 items. It goes up by 20 each upgrade tier, with the required upgrade item going up. If you use guild for an upgrade step, it increases for the required item count for the next step, and vice versa if the increases the guild cost. Okay, so yeah, they're just giving you several different ways. You can just buy a bunch of inventory space, or you can just earn it eventually from either the battle pass or events, quest, any of that stuff. Okay. There are a lot of refreshed or new visuals for certain menus. The material menu has a kind of dynamic visual where the item is in the middle of a big wheel and the material rotate around it. I'm noticing that the thing I thought was going to be here is actually not here. So I guess I'll go over that myself in a little bit. Material menu has kind of a dynamic visual where the item is in the middle of a big wheel and the material rotate around it to focus on the slot you have selected. Okay. Triple Triad has moved the board to fill most of the right side of the screen, and the left shows the player and opponent clearly, who also now emote based on how the match is going. Daily quests with extra rewards are doing 2 leveling roulettes, 1 trial roulette, and 1 high-level roulette. Potentially a raid roulette reward will be added later, too. Weekly quests are more diverse, featuring Fate gold medals, gold saucer gates, minigames, triple triad, total crafts, total gatherers, Grand Company tournaments, lead quests, and treasure maps, alongside doing 12 roulettes over the week. These have their own reward track that give out random reward chests, MGP, and gil for getting through them. As a free-to-play version of 14, there's obviously a much different monetization aspect from the original. Details on what the content's like has been previously detailed, with details about the battle. Okay, so this is actually what I was kind of expecting. And there's a whole separate post about how this actually works. So, Taru just already trying to become the Rowena / Baron of mobile, is in charge of the real money stuff. The monetization is obviously one of the biggest points, and it's something that I have already gone over a handful of times. However, we obviously need to see what the actual open beta has in store. Currently, 1 yuan is about 14 cents, but you do your own conversions. Don't assume the prices will match in the global release. Yeah, oh no, they most assuredly not. First image is the currency packs ranging from a standard small bundle up to a 64,800-ish gem bundle for about $90-ish. That in mind, using the rest of the images, premium Mog Station outfits are sitting at around 18 USD. Makes sense. Standard outfits that used to be in the main game are about $1, little less on the new release. That was a big contested point from something earlier. Mounts are at $32. Okay. Minions are at about $14 or $7. Items vary a lot. Simple consumables are incredibly cheap, and the highest price items is the character name change at $14. So Fantasia is $9. Outside of Mog Station style store, there are some additional purchases for 14 Mobile, specifically to monetize the game, both pretty expected. A monthly premium service, not at all unexpected, 30 yuan, about 4 USD. Gets an instant 3,000 currency and have 4 benefits enabled. More EXP, less market board tax, more market board slots, and faster mounts. Yes, we knew that already. I went over that when we saw the premium service during the first beta. You also get another 100 currency and some EXP boosters every day for the month. And unlike some other games, it seems the store will store them for up to 15 days if you miss a day. So if you miss more than 15 days, then your monthly premium service is going to be a bit wasteful. But if you miss logins, this is actually a pretty big deal. This is something that general mobile games, I'm playing Etheria Restart right now, and if Etheria Restart did that, that would be fantastic. Maybe they do, and I just haven't noticed, but that's something that honestly just general mobile games could probably learn to do. There's probably a few that do, but I haven't played them. Lastly is the Battle Pass, which looks to run for about 3 months. Like the premium, you purchase this directly for either about $9-ish or $27 to get a head start in the levels and rewards. Really standard Battle Pass stuff. Some of the tiers in the Battle Pass give a special currency for the Battle Pass specific store, which contains dyes, material, and extra fun items. Since you can't get some of this currency on the free tier, it will vary a lot in how much it takes to earn these items. You can get some of this currency on the free tier. Based on purchase over time, so no estimates for me. That's about it. All right, now let's actually look at the Battle Pass itself in a separate post. Oh, it's the same thing, but it's just the post down here. Additional info specifically about the Battle Pass. Had to go back and check stuff for writing this, and there's no edit option for some reason, so I guess it's going down here. There are 80 levels to the Battle Pass. Only up to 60 have free rewards. Across the pass, you can earn 2,500 BP store currency in the free tier and an additional 40,000 in the paid tier. God. Other rewards across the free tier include inventory expansions, glamour prisms, magic prisms, materials, training manuals, potion items, EXP, timed boosters, cordials, dyes, 1 radiant gem, and 1 chocobo barding. Currently the Warrior of Light themed one. Nice. That's in the free track. In addition, extra rewards in the paid tier include the above miscellaneous items along with 2 fashion coupons used to buy glamour gear, 1 orchestrion roll, 2 minions, 2 ancient elixirs, says it's used for crafting special weapons, 3 pieces of glamour, and a coffer with full glamour outfits. Yeah, so it doesn't, honestly, that's, other than the currency, almost seems like the most important thing. So, I mean, for the most part, a lot of this stuff we've already been over, and reading through it, there's a lot of really nice stuff. For me, honestly, Fates are one of the most, like, the thing that they really need to go back to earlier portions of the game and enhance, because you really want more players engaging with that system as early as possible. A lot of this other stuff will be about feel and preference, like class and job upgrades, you know, how the story actually keeps, how it's written, how it's presented, especially when it gets brought over to other regions. But at the end of the day, I mean, at the very least, it largely just presents as 14 on mobile. Obviously, as an endgame raider, seeing these changes, especially seeing Coil's changes, having seen already one fight, is probably the more intriguing thing to me. But if I can get access to the Chinese version for longer than a few hours via the WeChat method, then I would definitely like to do so and get my hands on this and feel it out for myself. But for the most part, I mean, I think it's just, it kind of sounds like as we expected. There's still a handful more quality of life things here, but there's also some things that are not here as well. So there was a bit of give and pull when it came to what they decided to include and what they did. So yeah, I'm curious because there is a 14 mobile US Discord. I wonder if they have anything extensive about the access getting, because I was being instructed by somebody about how to do it via Bilibili. Because you used to be able to like sign up for like a foreign account with Bilibili, but apparently that doesn't really work anymore. And the WeChat one is kind of temporary, but it's a matter of the paywalling for certain things. So there are some things that are not mentioned here that I know are a thing, that it's like a pay for convenience bit. Obviously the inventory being paywalled, glamour plates being paywalled, glam itself, obviously there's a MOG station, no one's surprised there. It makes more sense in the free-to-play version than it does in our retail game at the very least. But there's also like, you can purchase the ether currents in a zone if you don't want to collect them. Realm Reborn zones are kind of small, so to me that's silly, but you know, some people are going to do it. I saw someone else equate it to like the red orbs in Devil May Cry 5, how you could purchase those. It's like, there's really no reason to do it, but like they want to see who is willing to go ahead and do it. Who wants more inventory now versus waiting for battle passes for inventory expansions or using their guild for inventory expansions. But at the end of the day, most of this stuff also does seem to be obtainable throughout the game itself. And it seems like it's mostly glam and materials that are the question mark about how okay it is. They even covered some of the other things in another monetization post we went over, where there was some confusion about some glam pieces that were available, because apparently certain glam pieces were actually increasing item level, even though it wasn't making the item stronger. So they fixed all that. And this continues to be an ongoing exploration process. Is 14 Mobile going to be something that, outside of its quality of life that a lot of us in the retail game think would be really cool, is it going to be something that can actually stand on its own 2 feet and survive throughout the months and years alongside Final Fantasy XIV retail? Or will the magic kind of fade really quick and the game won't be able to keep pace between its monetization as well as the player demand for both content and repeatable, well, it's stuff to engage with within the game? Because when you make a game hyper convenient, you kind of start to run the risk of people not needing to spend a lot of time, and then if they're not spending as much time, they may not spend as much money. So there's a question mark on if they maybe even go a little too far, but a lot of this stuff seems to be pretty well balanced, well intentioned, and just beneficial to the player as a whole, and less of a I don't have to spend as much time playing Final Fantasy XIV, which is the ideal kind of quality of life that I think they want for something like that. But anyway, I'm still seeing it from the outside. I'm not seeing it firsthand, so I'm definitely going to have to get a hold of some peeps that are actively playing, who have access to it. And I will continue to work on that, because I definitely want to bring more 14 mobile content to you. And I'd like to bring it to you before I actually have to, you know, wait until it comes out here in the West. So that's going to be a wrap covering these posts. Thank you to Robla Andrews. And I'll be actually, you know, making sure I keep a tab open for the 14 mobile subreddit from now on, because it's probably going to have a lot of videos to make on that. Thank you to them for their post and their very extensive explanation of all of this stuff across. They were also the author of the other posts at the bottom here. And with that, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned. I'll have more information about 14 Mobile as it becomes available. So with that, I will see all of you in the next one. And until then, take care.